The Florida Gators' next depth chart comes out tonight. We're going to talk about some changes that maybe should or shouldn't happen, kind of predictions, kind of projections. We'll figure it out. Find out here on Locked On Gators.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. We are available daily, or watch actually, and free wherever you listen to podcasts. Happy Wednesday. I'm Brandon Olson. Find me on Twitter with WNS_Brandon. Find my written work with Whole Nine Sports and Giants Country of SI.com. And before getting into today's content, I would just like to thank LinkedIn Jobs for being the official college football recruiting sponsor across the Locked On College Network. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates that you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions apply. And also like, comment, subscribe, review, whatever it is that you want to do. We're talking about a depth chart changes. And here's the thing. The first one, quarterback. Okay? No changes. Stop it. That's stupid. Anthony Richardson is the best option available at quarterback for the Florida Gators. That ain't changing. Okay? I get it. People are like, oh, he's underperforming. He's this, he's that. Ain't changing. It's Anthony Richardson. It's as simple as that. Running back, though, Montrell Johnson should be listed as the starting running back. Last week, I said, hey, we'll give it another week. Not yet. It's time. Montrell Johnson he's sixth in rushing yards in the SEC, and he's not even close to sixth in carries. He's eaten up yards per carry, got 9.6 yards per carry, if I'm not mistaken. He's a beast. And also, here's the thing. I love Naquan. I think I've been the person pounding the table all offseason for Naquan Wright to be the running back one. I don't know if it's still that ankle that's bothering him. I don't know if it's this new offense, this new system, if he's not just gelling with the offensive line, whatever it is. But Naquan Wright is not moving like Naquan Wright moved last season. He's not as quick, as shifty, as explosive, as dynamic, whatever you want to call it. Naquan Wright is being outperformed by both Montrell Johnson and Trevor Etienne so far. And I will continue to say that I'm not saying Trevor Etienne should be running back one or running back two over Naquan, because I do think Trevor Etienne still needs to learn the rest of the playbook. By that, I mean, he's not coming in on just any formation. He's coming in on specific formations. I'm assuming it's because he's learned his package of plays that he's going to play in. And throughout the season, he will learn more, and he will get added more into the offense. So I don't think Trevor Etienne should jump Naquan Wright yet. But Montrell Johnson should. Montrell Johnson has been nothing short of absolutely phenomenal this season. He deserves to be running back one of the Florida Gators. Looking at tight end, which is the last offensive position that we have three offensive positions, including quarterback, none, running back, Montrell, and then tight end, Keon Zipperer should be tight end one. I said this last week. I did say this last week. I said it should be Keon Zipperer listed as running back one, or listed as tight end one. Against South Florida, Keon Zipperer played more snaps than Dante Zanders versus, again, South Florida. So there's that. Keon Zipperer played more snaps. Blocking-wise, I think Keon Zipperer has been barely more effective than Dante Zanders as a blocker. Barely. I think Keon Zipperer and Dante Zanders are basically even. It's a push as to who's a better blocking tight end. However, as a receiver, Keon Zipperer has been significantly more effective as a pass catcher. I know yesterday I did Tape Tuesday and I broke down Justin Shorter ran the post, Keon Zipperer ran the corner, and it was a little scissors concept. And Keon Zipperer, great play. I think that as a receiver, he's clearly better than Dante Zanders, and he deserves to be more involved in the offense. He should be listed as tight end one. Again, I don't know if he will be because they've gone 12 personnel so heavy that it makes sense to just put them both, and it doesn't matter the order. But I do think Keon Zipperer should be tight end 1, or he should at least be considered tight end 1. I'll say that. Nose tackle. I said this last week as well. Desmond Watson. And here's the thing. Completely ignore the highlight play, the tackle where I think it was Brian Batty, where he picked him up and threw him to the ground. Completely ignore that. I don't care about a highlight play, and I'm not going to use a highlight play as saying, he should be the starter. No. Desmond Watson played more snaps than Jalen Lee did against South Florida by a considerable margin. Desmond Watson played, I think it was 35, and Jalen Lee played, I think it was 26, if I'm not mistaken. So Desmond Watson is playing more already. Desmond Watson has significantly outperformed Jalen Lee as well. I think that Desmond Watson, given the expectations going into the season, I think a lot of us that are being realistic about things, we're saying Desmond Watson is a massive human being that is likely going to be a run stuffer and not much else. But Desmond Watson so far this season has shown consistently that he can get into the backfield. It's just a matter of when will he become a finisher of plays. And we kind of saw that against USF a little bit. We'll see if it continues over to Tennessee. But Desmond Watson has been nothing short of a freak on the defensive line. 6'5", 420, 439, 415, whatever you want to list him as, Desmond Watson has been an animal and deserves to be the starting nose tackle on this defensive line. He's just been so good. I cannot stress that enough. I haven't been someone that, I'm not like all off season. I was like, Desmond Watson's great. Desmond Watson's great. Desmond Watson's great. I'm not pushing this agenda. I'm telling you, Desmond Watson has been playing like a freak, and he deserves to continue to play more. Linebacker is the last position that we're talking about here. Derek Wingo or Shemar James. I know I saw it in the comments, and I got DM'd about it too with Derek Wingo. I don't know why he's not playing. I don't know if it's a matter of his play. I don't know if it's a matter of his ability to communicate to the defense. I know yesterday in Tape Tuesday, I talked about Montrell Johnson was the one who told the defense to shift to the right when the offense went in motion. So I don't know if he's making the adjustments, which, by the way, I spent all offseason saying that I don't want him starting at star, but Montrell Johnson, kudos to you, man. He's been playing great. But what I do know is that at linebacker, Scooby Williams struggled against South Florida. He played a bad football game, and not just talking like, I don't want you to look at PFF's missed tackles. I don't want you to look at any of that stuff. I want you to watch the film and see Scooby Williams kind of just try to guess pre-snap where the run was going and just shoot that gap. I know that there's people who don't play or never played football. There's run fits. You have to fit those run fits in order to, stop big runs. That didn't happen. Scooby Williams was not a communicator. Billy Napier last week said, with Scooby Williams, this is an opportunity for him to step up and grasp a bigger role. I don't think he did enough to warrant getting a second opportunity. I'm not saying he's bad or he should be just completely taken out of the game. Rotate him in, that's fine. He should not be a starting linebacker. It should be either Derek Wingo, or if you're not comfortable with Derek Wingo, Shemar James. Because if Ventrell Miller out, which at the time of recording has not been ruled out completely, but I'm fairly confident in that he won't play this Saturday. Someone needs to step up as the primary communicator. I also don't know why they weren't just teaching Amari Burney the calls and having him do it as the most experienced linebacker in the room now. But again, that's not my job. Derek Wingo or Shemar James should be replacing Scooby Williams as a starting linebacker. We are about to be joined by Hayden Hansen, Florida Gators tight end. He's here every week. Been killing it, by the way. But first, a quick word from LinkedIn, because as the sun comes out and small businesses are back in business, LinkedIn Jobs makes it easier for you to grow your team. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the people that you want to interview faster and for free. If you've never used LinkedIn Jobs before, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. That's how I got my last job before I joined Locked On, which is way better now. But simple tools like screening questions makes it easy for you to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience. You can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires with leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates that you want to talk to faster. And did you know that every week, nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Joining me now on Locked On Gators, as always, with every Wednesday episode, is Hayden Hansen, Florida Gators freshman tight end. And we spoke about this last week where, if we're just being honest about it, Florida should have blown out South Florida. Like that game, that should have been a runaway game. What was Billy Napier's message to the team after a close win that should have been a blowout?
I mean, first of all, he just said that in this game, he said winning's always a royalty. He's like, it's rare. You have to celebrate it. He said we made it hard at times, and but he said give credit to South Florida. They came out and played a good game. I mean, their quarterback's a solid athlete. Played at Baylor. We knew that coming in. They played up to our standard, and I mean we should have taken care of business, but we just made it hard on ourselves, and we're still improving in practice. And we're always just one or two guys away from huge plays happening, and just little things that we'll fine tune. We'll be all right. But his main point was to celebrate the win, no matter how ugly it was. And he said, because winning's always it's what you want. So
yeah, ugly wins still win. So I'm always gonna be like, yeah, hey, we won. It doesn't have to look pretty, but long term, it's a win. What is the feel in the locker room right now? And I asked that specifically because great start to the year with the Utah win, two underwhelming performances, but this is a team where I feel like every week you've been here, we've talked about, older players have said last year this team would have been at each other's necks. What's the feel in the locker room right now?
I think it's opened our eyes about how what Napier is talking about is coming to life. There's been some adversity. I mean, just what the fans see, but even what they don't see. And I mean, there's really no talking behind each other's backs or he sucks, I should be playing. It's supporting the guys that are out there, and people that aren't playing, they understand their roles, and we all just execute. And I mean, at the end of the day, you just gotta. I mean, we're sticking together. We're 2-1. We're still ranked. It's not the end of the world. We still can get to where we want to be. We just gotta win out, and that's our plan. So.
And now this is the second week in a row for the Florida Gators where the offense has struggled to consistently move the ball and consistently get the ball into the end zone. What are kind of what is Florida doing to approach this and get back on track and correct the issues so far?
Yeah, so I mean, in practice, we're getting really detailed in what we do and the dominant parts of our game, which are pretty obvious in my opinion to the fans that watch us. We got a three-headed attack at running back. That's great. We have great receivers. One of the most athletic quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life. Just like what I always say is if we could take our Utah offense that we played and our Kentucky defense and put those two together, that's a national championship team right there. So I just feel like we practicing hard. If we can get to those standards every week, I really don't see anyone that can stop us. But and that's just football, though. I mean, you're going to have off days, off games. It's just whoever can have the least amount of off games is going to win it all. So I mean, that's what we're doing. So.
And I would actually like to know because you mentioned the when the Florida Gators defense against Kentucky and the Utah offense, in practice. Is this rushing attack as explosive as it's been in game, or is the defense kind of showing what they've been able to show?
Oh, I mean that rush is always there. I mean, like myself, like I'm as a freshman, some of the other freshmen, like after like the full good on good teams, will break off and we'll give the defense some looks along with the other tight ends. And I mean, dude, it's like you're having a long practice, you're tired, and all of a sudden you line up and B Cox in your face, like God, it just makes you better, Like you can't be tired against those guys. Sap, and then like if you give them an inch, they're gonna take a mile. So it makes me better at the same time. But I mean, they never let up, and I think that's what ultimately shows on game day with y'all with what y'all see. So
Yeah, I can say, and I have no problem eating crow on this one. I spent all offseason going, oh, Brenton Cox has got to like pick it up this year. Damn, that man has that
Yeah.
has turned it up this year. Uh,
Yeah.
Offensively, we know that things have been messy, whatever that is. The run game has been explosive and consistently explosive. So, and not just in terms of effectiveness, but creativity wise, it's been a lot of fun to watch Florida's offensive line just dominate people. And the scheme has been great to watch with all the pre snap movement and all these, split zone is a thing that I love here. What goes into kind of installing this offense with timing and execution and getting it as good as it's been on the ground?
Yeah, so I mean, it's just part of our routine after games. Sunday's a big install period, but we're always installing throughout the week. Like, there's until like 2 days before, there's never a day where there's not a new play in and stuff. It's just we keep it fresh. We keep it based off of what the defense they run or what they've shown in the past, and that's about it. We run that, run it to their looks, and we just prepare that way. I mean, that's how we do it. So.
And as shocking as it is, we're already a quarter of the way through the Florida Gators season, which that is, yeah, your first season as a Gator is a
Yeah,
great done. Just so,
it's crazy.
what has been your biggest takeaway from this first quarter of the year, just as a
I mean, I got a couple things. I mean, obviously the college game day is around here is one of the best. I mean, I can say that truly. The fans are amazing. The Gator Walk's amazing. And secondly, that just everything Napier preached to me in recruiting, even back at UL, I now see he wasn't lying about anything. I mean, people, we buy into him. The coaches buy into him. The fans are buying into him. And when you do that, good things happen. He has been changing the culture around here. And I mean, lastly, it's just the speed of the game. I mean, things can go your way, and then all of a sudden, boom! No, it's just going the other person's way, and you try as hard as you can to stop it. And sometimes it's just not enough, and that's when you learn to get back up, go back to practice the next week. It's just in this league, there's just so many good players, and you always have to be ready and prepared to the fullest because it's going to come down to because I mean, talent versus talent. Who knows what to do? Who knows their role better? That's what it comes down to. So I mean, that's the biggest shocker to me.
This past weekend, the Florida Gators were 24.5 point favorites against the South Florida Bulls. They did not cover that. They were 6.5 point favorites against the Kentucky Wildcats. They did not cover that. They were projected to lose to the Utah Utes, and they won that game. That was the only time this season so far that the Florida Gators have been underdogs, and they won it. This weekend, the Florida Gators are 10.5 point underdogs against the Tennessee Volunteers, which I can tell you now, I think Tennessee will win that game. I think Tennessee will win that game even by more than 11. But I bet with my heart. So I'm going to put some money on the Florida Gators winning that game outright. If you want to do the same thing, head to BetOnline because it's your number one source for all of your betting needs and sports information. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn all about the trends and action. Check out BetOnline. It's where the game starts. And how is this coaching staff approaching this week where dating back to the start of the year, Florida was, I believe, a 3.5 point underdog to Utah, pulled off the upset, then favored against Kentucky by almost a touchdown, lost that one, favored by South Florida by 25, won that one, but obviously didn't cover that. Now the expectation is Tennessee is going to win this game big. So what is the approach in Gainesville for this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, so nothing. I mean, he hasn't changed anything that we normally do for this game. Nothing out of the ordinary. But I mean, he was just out there practice today. He got us all up, and he was just like, "I love going to someone else's house and beating the team." Napier mentioned he had family in Tennessee, and he's not the biggest fan of Tennessee. So I mean, that's just he wants to go in there and beat them. And no, I mean that's about it. I mean, he's not changing anything. We don't change anything for anyone specifically except for like the game plans. But our routine's been the same, and we're just going to attack the game the same as we've been doing all season.
Yeah, I mean, also, but who is a big fan of Tennessee? That's just who would do that to themselves? Do you think it's kind of or what advantage would it provide for the Florida Gators, where you've opened the year with 3 games in the swamp? The first two were absolutely rocking. Even this past weekend against South Florida, when it was, kind of a looked past game by the fan base, still a pretty crowded swamp there. And this is the first road game of the year. It's an incredibly hostile environment with Tennessee. So, what is kind of the advantage there with the Florida Gators of playing in the swamp consistently and then going to another loud stadium? Is it kind of a familiarity that the Gators have with that noise, or is it different since usually the crowd's quiet when Florida's on offense at home?
Yeah, so I got two things for you. The first one, obviously the swamp gets so very loud. So I mean, I really don't feel like that'll be too much of a factor. Aside, I mean, even on offense, I mean, there's just so many people at the game. They try to be quiet, but I mean, it's still loud. I mean, so I mean, I don't feel like that'll be too much of an impact or anything like that. And just secondly, I mean, AR has been. I mean, I think his first three starts were on away games, and I feel like he did pretty good on those. And I just feel like maybe he feels less pressure on away games, maybe not to let the fans down, But I mean, either way, I think we'll show out. It will be a solid game, especially. I mean, Napier's a great leader too on the away games. I mean, he's kind of been drilling inside of us, just like this will be the first time this year with me that you'll see our fans outnumbered. And he said we just have to go in there, snatch the momentum fast, take the fans' breath away, and don't let them get involved in the game. So.
Yeah, and I wasn't gonna ask this, but now I feel like I should. With Anthony Richardson, obviously he struggled this year. What is it as far as saying like you kind of have to give him a little bit of leeway here? The South Florida game, sure, that one was a rough one, but the first three games that Anthony Richardson started in his career were that Georgia defense from last year, Utah's defense this year, and Kentucky's defenses. Are all three very good defenses. So how do you kind of block that outside noise? And because we know that he's taken responsibility for any struggles he's had, how is it in that locker room kind of trying to uplift him when he's played no easy matchups and he's been just constantly scrutinized?
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, I'm a huge AR believer. Like, sky's the limit for him. If he does decide to come back next year, I think the Heisman is the expectation. I mean, but I will say it's not just him. I mean, I know when quarterbacks do bad at first, everyone blames it on them. But I mean, it's not just him. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we can fine tune to help him perform. Um, but I mean, he takes the blame, and he doesn't need. I mean, like you would think that he will get down. I mean, he doesn't really get too down. I mean, he holds himself up. He's a leader. He leads us. I mean, sure, we lift him up like any other teammate. I mean, they'll kind of get a little down. We'll lift them up, but he really doesn't require that much. I mean, he's just he's a strong leader. He leads by example, and he'll get rolling. He proved that in the Utah game. So I mean, it's just he just as a team, not just him, just hit a little slump. So I mean, I feel like this week we'll bounce back and show that Utah form we had.
Hopefully, I mean, also that I don't want to be rude about it, but that Tennessee defense not great. So I'll take shots at them. You don't have to do the trash talk. I will. But I mean, just you personally, you've been in Gainesville for a few months now. Like we mentioned, the first quarter of the season is done for you. The first quarter of your first season is done for you. Who would you say has been kind of the biggest help in getting the younger tight ends like yourself? I know there's a lot on the roster right now, a lot of young tight end talent, but who's been the biggest help in getting the younger tight ends up to speed?
So you're talking like coach wise or player wise? Like
Both.
both. Okay, so during fall camp, Napier told Dante to kind of take me under his wing, because I was going to be his like his next version of him, and he helped me a lot. But now, I mean, he's starting, he's busy. So you're probably not familiar with him. He used to play line. He moved Griffin. He doesn't help me too much on tight end because he's kind of new too. But I mean, he just gives me that veteran look on college and helps me, like if I have a bad practice or stuff, he'll like kind of show me the bigger picture and stuff. I mean, he's been there for I think 5 years now, and he just knows his way around, and he's been helping me out with that. And I mean, coach wise, it's kind of a mix. Piegler, I mean, he's our main coach. He's great, but I mean, he can only coach so many of us at the time. We have a deep room, so I mean, he kind of sticks mainly with the starters and the twos. And but I mean, but if it's not him, I'd say Coach Darlington. He's up in the box during the game, so I don't see him on the sideline or anything. But I mean, he's been a big part in the younger guys. Definitely during fall camp, helping us with the plays and stuff. Because I mean, us messing up was inevitable with that playbook. But I mean, he's definitely helped us a lot.
Yeah, you mentioned Griffin McDowell. That dude is shredded. That's the thing I know about him because we haven't seen much of him yet, but that dude is
Yep.
insane. Thank you so much, Hayden. This was Hayden Hansen, Florida Gators tight end, and again, you can catch him every Wednesday, Locked On Gators, and every Saturday with the Florida Gators. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We're available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast. We'll be back tomorrow where it's crossover Thursday. Joining me is Eric Kane of Locked On Vols. We're going to talk a little trash. We're going to talk a little Florida versus Tennessee. I'm sorry in advance for who I'm going to pick to win the game, but spoiler alert, not Florida. And for Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olson. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find my written work with Whole Nine Sports and Giants Country at SI.com, and I'll see you all tomorrow.